Well, the Army Chief is holding a press conference today. Let's cut across live to that address.
I'm also grateful to you all for from time to time covering the various events related to the Army. These have been positive articles, these have been negative reporting, but I suppose this is very much required in our environment because positive, of course, it spurs us to carry on doing the good things, and the negative reporting ensures that we have more accountability coming about in our rank and file. We do the right thing the right way. We do the things as per laid down norms, follow the rule book. And from that point of view, I must thank you for your reporting from time to time and your support. It's a very challenging task. I fully understand it's not an easy task for the media because when we sit in the drawing rooms, when we sit in our offices and watch you all reporting on various events, it's not an easy thing because I know the kind of vagaries you face of the environment while putting your mind together in various reports. It's not an easy thing. And on behalf of all ranks of the Indian Army, let me compliment you all and convey my greetings to you in this regard. And I think you're doing a great job in this regard. Ladies and gentlemen, I take this opportunity to convey my condolences at the outset to the bereaved families of our soldiers who have made the ultimate sacrifice since the last Army Day in 2012. And the total figures are 91 all ranks, which includes 6 officers, 8 JCOs and 77 other ranks. These officers, JCOs and men have made the ultimate, the supreme sacrifice in the line of duty and in the best traditions of the Indian Army. And I feel that we need to salute these. On behalf of all ranks of the Indian Army, I salute these gentlemen who in the very noble cause have laid down their lives. My heart especially goes out today to the families of 2 soldiers who were killed on the 8th, who were mutilated, their bodies were mutilated after that operation on the 8th by the Pakistani regulars. It was a gruesome act, most unpardonable act. We have lodged a very strong protest in this regard to the government, to the DGMO, and this is being taken up today. Alongside this act, it defies all logic. It's against the very principles and rules of engagement. It is against the very ethics of soldiering and professionalism. And therefore, in very strong terms, we have taken up this case with the government of Pakistan, to our government. You would have heard the statements of the Raksha Mantri, you would have heard the statement of the Minister of External Affairs. The DGMOs have conveyed this during the DGMO talk, and this afternoon, in fact, at 1 o'clock, when we have this flag meeting today at the brigade commander's level, this again is being put across, being lodged, protest being lodged in a very strong manner today. I wish to clarify a few aspects, ladies and gentlemen, with regard to the incident, because we've had varying descriptions coming about on this incident. The first thing I wish to highlight is that there was no operation undertaken by the Indian Army on the 6th, as alleged by the Pakistan Army. And this has been covered widely, they've been talking about it, but having ascertained from ground, it's with conviction that I'm telling you that no operation was carried out by the Indian Army on the 6th. The other thing about blaming one of the commanders, that there was a commander who was very aggressive, and as a result of this, this has started. Well, I expect all my commanders on the line of control to be aggressive and offensive in the face of provocation and firing. I don't expect my commanders to be timid. And from that point of view, I think the commanders on the LC are doing a great job, and their morale has to be kept high. They're doing a wonderful job. They are operating, they are conducting themselves in a professional manner. Their response is always in retaliation to being provoked and not being fired at. And the response is always measured and for effect. The other aspect I wish to highlight in this regard is a word about Charunda village, media has been covering. And a certain amount of impression has been given that the entire thing has started from there. I wish to clarify, and we have a picture of village Charunda, which will be shown to you during the break after this. It's being carried by GPI. He will show it to you. From the picture you will see that Churunda village is dominated by the Pakistani posts. And therefore, when it is dominated, it has also been subjected to large number of times to small arms and mortar fire. In the month of October, there were 3 civilians who had been killed in the village Churunda, which included one lady, a pregnant lady of 23 years old. Now, in that area, when you are being fired upon, you don't expect the soldiers to walk in the open. And therefore, the soldiers have prepared a communication trench, a crawl trench, and an observation post. There is no concrete defense works in this area. I wish to assure you of this. And therefore, this information which came up, that it was on account of this, it's all false. And let me also tell you, this kind of activity goes on both sides. Preparation of defenses, modification of defenses, upkeep of defenses is the ongoing activity along the line of control. And I must share this with you. Right from my company days to the core day, I have commanded on the line of control. And I have enough experience with regard to this. And I've also thought that some of you, in fact most of you who are old timers have been to the LC. But those who wish to go there again, I've already thought of it, I've told the DGMO, we'll be too glad to take you to the LC to make you understand the dynamics of line of control. What exactly goes on over there. Because once you perceive, once you see that for yourself, you'll find your reporting will fall in the correct perspective. And you'll be able to appreciate this incident, how it occurred and why it occurred, and what needs to be done. Therefore, we will try and take you there at the earliest. The moment things stabilize, we'll take you to that area. The other thing I wish to highlight is that this response, which is so-called alleged response, or has been portrayed by Pakistan, that it was a response to our operations on the 6th, was premeditated and pre-planned. If you see the sequence of events, it very clearly emerges that it was a pre-planned activity. They blame us for this operation on the 6th night. On the 7th morning, their DGMO calls up our DGMO and he calls for a DGMO talk, which of course manifested on the 7th. They pass on a demarche to our diplomat, to our High Commissioner in Islamabad on the 7th. They launch a media campaign, try to portray us in poor light and saying that we have launched the operation on 6th. And within about 50 hours, they launch this operation. Now, ladies and gentlemen, such operations require time for planning and execution. The execution very fact is taking place, but this kind of operation requires detailed reconnaissance. And where they are blaming us for this in Uri area, the operation has been launched south of Pir Panjal in Mender area. In other words, their troops were poised for this operation. Pakistan was only looking at, the Pakistani army was essentially looking at justifying, legitimizing this action. So therefore this entire information campaign which was launched by them, which is based on lies, has got to be understood in the correct perspective. As far as our stance is concerned with regard to this, I must tell you this, that it's an operation at the tactical level. And as you know that in the war fighting arena, there are various levels at which these kind of operations are taken. These are tactical, operational and strategic arenas. While yes, this incident has had strategic implication in terms of the beheading of our soldier. That is unacceptable. Militarily, the operation is at the tactical level, but it has got strategic nuances. And therefore, those strategic nuances, our concerns have been conveyed to the government of Pakistan by our government, based on our very strong protest that we launched to the government. At the military level, it's a tactical operation being dealt with by the local commanders. And I wish to assure you that I have given very clear directions in this regard to the Northern Army Commander, that we need to maintain and retain moral ascendancy at all costs. We've got to retaliate to provocation, to firing in a measured manner and for effect. We will uphold the ceasefire as long as the adversary upholds it. But we shall not be passive to being fired at. And therefore, when we are fired at, when we are provoked, we shall respond immediately and also to acts of this kind, the heinous act which was committed on the 8th in Mendes sector, we reserve the right to retaliate at the time and place of choosing. And from the point of view of aggressiveness and offensiveness, as I said earlier, I expect my commanders, in the face of provocation and firing, to be aggressive and offensive. And therefore, moral ascendancy implies that they understand they are doing a great job, and they must understand that the army hierarchy is standing behind them. I would take on questions in this regard. I know this has been in the media and the news for a long time, and rightly so, because it has been an emotive issue. It has hurt all of us. It has hurt the chief, me, and my entire army. It's something we are not at all happy with, and we have just the reason launched a very strong protest. I would take on questions in this regard later, but ladies and gentlemen, since this is an annual feature, I think it will be most appropriate I touch upon some other facets of what we are doing and what we've done in the past and how we intend moving ahead. Would you like to cover this now, or you feel I can cover this later? You want me to ask questions on this issue first?
Just once. Just one. It will be better that you finish.
I think I'll just go ahead and let me cover. Right. The Indian Army is moving ahead with a vision. A vision in the backdrop of the national aspirations. A vision in the backdrop of where we are today and where we have to go. And therefore, from that point of view, the vision stipulates essentially ensuring the operational effectiveness of the Indian Army to ensure it remains a potent, accountable, responsive and relevant instrument of national power. And when I use the word relevant, relevance comes in the backdrop of the national aspirations to remain compatible, to be able to fulfill the national aspirations as mandated by the government from time to time. In this, ladies and gentlemen, we had identified our KRAs. KRAs, the first one being the operational readiness. Operational readiness to ensure that we are able to fulfill our constitutional obligations and mandated tasks. The second was regarding the modernization. Modernization to ensure that we address the hollowness and deficiencies which are there in our combat power. And this not is only in the facet of the physical component of combat power, but also the conceptual and model. I shall touch upon this later. The other KRA is strengthening the work culture and upholding the cherished core values of the organization. Our core values, which have been highlighted over decades, over centuries, these need to be upheld at all costs, and these are integrity, loyalty, respect, duty, selfless service, courage, and honor. And if you ask me, I can touch upon these later on and tell you what exactly it implies. We are also looking at the human resource management to ensure that there are very high levels of morale in all rank and file or members of the officers, JCOs and men. This can only come about if their aspirations are addressed in the correct perspective, and there are initiatives in this regard. I can touch upon this during the question hour. Enhancing the security consciousness, because we had large number of leaks taking place with regard to our classified documents, to our plans, and I suppose that's a need. There's a need to share our plans, our classified material on need-to-know basis. The other is about enhancing jointness with the other two services. And the last one, looking after the welfare of ex-servicemen and Veernaris, because, ladies and gentlemen, they belong to the bigger, the larger family of the army. And unless they are happy, they are at the bedrock of this structure of the army. And unless they are happy, the army cannot be happy. And unless they are happy, we can't have the right kind of material coming into the army to join our rank and file. So therefore, this is another KRA that has been spelled out. With respect to modernization, I must tell you that I talked of the combat part. I touched upon the physical aspects, but let me tell you that combat power comprises three components: the conceptual, the moral, and the physical. The thrust of the Indian Army is in the three domains, in the three facets. Conceptual, dealing with the strategy, the doctrine, the operational art. We are revisiting our strategy, we are revisiting our doctrines to make sure they are compatible, they are relevant. We are also going into the moral aspects which relate to the motivation, morale, leadership, training. And we are getting into the physical aspects of the combat part, which essentially are the human resource management, human capital management, equipment, related issues, infrastructure, optimization of our force structures and their strengthening, and the logistics. We have, with regard to acquisitions, further refined our mechanisms to make them more accountable, to make sure that various stages of the acquisition plan are met in a time-bound manner. They are constantly monitored. There is more transparency, and we stick scrupulously to the provisions of DPP 2011 for capital and DPM 2009 as far as the revenue budget is concerned. I have the PSOs also here today, ladies and gentlemen, and any factual details which you feel you need, we shall be able to share those with you on need-to-know basis, as I said earlier. Because I can imagine that there is a desire of you to know more and more, but you'll appreciate that given the sensitivities of certain plans, of certain actions, we'll not be able to share the entire thing with you. Like for example, certain schemes, I wonder if it's already been covered. Because as per DPP 2011, we cannot be sharing information on various schemes, at what stage they are and what is being done. But broadly, yes, what our thrust areas are, I can always tell you that. With regard to our operational plans, kindly bear with me. Again, these have got to be shared on need-to-know basis, because the plans, if they get divulged, they can create problems at the grassroots level, at the ground level, when they are executed. Therefore, with this as the backdrop, ladies and gentlemen, I'm open to any questions that you have.
We'll take one by one. 10.
May I know your name, please? I can't even see who's speaking. Is there a mic? Okay, please.
Hemant Sharma, the Sunday Guardian.
Yes, ma'am.
So on 1st August 2011 also 4 heads were beheaded from 19 Rajput. And after this incident has taken place. The DGMOs have just spoken, and today the flag meeting is there. Are you coming up with some kind of a mechanism so as to avoid such an incident in the future? And what are we doing to bring Hemraj's head back? And update on 197 choppers.
Right. With regard to getting the head back, it has been taken up at the government level, and you'll appreciate that this has to be done through the diplomatic channels. Message being conveyed. It's also being conveyed through the DGMO. It's also being conveyed today in this regard in no uncertain terms. And let's see if the Pakistan Army heeds to this protest and they comply with it. That is one. The other aspect, you're right, this is the second incident that has happened. Measures that have been instituted are more in terms of ensuring that wherever any activities are carried out, these are by balanced troops, a balanced team, balanced in terms of composition, a team that will be able to withstand such operations at the tactical level by the adversary. We are also enhancing our surveillance capability along the line of control, both technical and also the human intelligence, to make sure that we are forewarned with these kind of activities. Beg your pardon? Both technical and also the human intelligence, to make sure that we are forewarned with these kind of activities. This is at the moment at the Ministry of Defence. We have got to move ahead in this regard with great caution, because there will be a large number of allegations. We got to investigate these and then take report on this.
8.
Pakistani Army and Pakistani government has been in a denial mode. They have not accepting the Indian allegations of the Indian Army. And along with these statements, the threatening statements are also coming from Taliban. So we will see a combined insight from the Pakistani government and the Pakistani Army. Sorry, the last question I don't understand. You just go back to the don't mind. Taliban, Taliban, Pakistan, they have been issuing statements regarding Kashmir. Kashmir will not remain peaceful, and they will not stress offenses in Kashmir. So, do you see a combined move by the army and Taliban, the extremist elements in Pakistan, to launch all these offenses, the latest offenses? Look, we have analyzed all such confidence, and we are prepared for it. That means just leave it at that. There would be an attempt to create an upsurge in the internal security in Jammu and Kashmir. Yeah, we are here about it.
29. 18.
General, the statistics that we have got from the army says that in the last calendar year there have been 117 ceasefire violations along the IB and the LC. That gives us an average of one ceasefire violation every 3 days. Where is the ceasefire, sir?
Sorry?
Where is the ceasefire? If you have a violation at 117.
Look, what you need to understand is that this ceasefire, which came into effect on the 26th of November 2003, I was in the military operation at that point of time. This is on an understanding between both the DGMs, between both the governments. So the offer which came from the Pakistani side, it has been in place, but these aberrations in the form of violations have been taken place. You are right. In the year 2011, we had one ceasefire violation every 6 days. We had 61. So therefore, roughly it comes to one in every 6 days. You're right, in 2012 it was one in every 3 days. We've had only 9 this year. But please remember this thing that it is not the entire line of control that is activated. This activation is segmentized. This activation is essentially at 2 places. The majority of the ceasefire violations have been either in the Uri sector or in this AD sector. One is the battalion. And this other part is battalion major. So what I'm trying to bring out is that these are localized, these are local dynamics, and it is not the entire LC that is activated. And therefore, if you really come to think of it, the ceasefire to a large extent is rolling out with aberrations in certain areas. And these localized aberrations, ceasefire violations, are being dealt with appropriately as per our SOPs. We also firefight, as I said earlier, our response is rigid and fortified. And these are dealt with at the technical level. SOPs are in place. Right, that if you go by the sheer numbers, perhaps you will see that there is no ceasefire. But please see that the other segments of the LC, they are devoid of this kind of fire. So ceasefire is on. But yes, what is of concern and what has actually annoyed us, angered us, is the way they have treated our 2 soldiers who were killed on the field.
Why is it
That is unpardonable.
Why is it restricted to these 2 or 3 sectors? Why is it
Look,
not allowed?
Right. You see, firstly, these are also related to infiltration. Now, you see the village Churunda, for example. Churunda is the shortest route to Uri. And this is the place which they have traditionally used in the past to infiltrate. This fire which is there from their side is a mark of frustration. Then we have recruited, we have denied their people coming in from that side. So it's basically a depiction of their frustration. And they fire in this area. Similar to this area, if you see the area of Navigati, traditionally the infiltration has been taking place from these areas, and most of these ceasefire violations have been in this area. In the last 2 days, you've seen some activity in this area again, in the main area. And the activity could well be either it was a bad action team which was coming in, or these were infiltrators. We are trying to get hold of the information on this, but we have inputs to allude to the fact that this operation 2 days ago, when at night we fired on them, we have dropped 3 of their either terrorists or forces. But we are waiting for ground confirmation. Logically, the troops are not moving forward because of the fire which is on at the moment to verify this. But to my way of thinking, perhaps people who were trying to move last night could have well come in to take the bodies back of the people who were killed earlier.
9.
circumstances in which this patrol was attacked and the two men who were killed.
Right.
Is there any inquiry into any lapses in the manner in which they were doing the patrol? Say anything of the kind that
Talking frankly, what is of paramount importance at this stage is that the morale of the troops on the LC should be high. Everything will take its time. There are procedures for this as well, because after all, social loss with the lady, we got to institute corrective measures. We shall do that. But then I think at this point of time, the important phases or important aspect at the moment is to make sure that people remain active, alert. They are given the requisite wherewithal to carry out their operations and they are not outside. But yes, we will definitely go into this and institute corrective measures.
17. No, 17. I'll come to
17, 70.
doesn't matter.
I didn't know we went to 70 as well.
This side, sir. I'm Mukesh from United in India. दो सवाल है सर आपसे. एक तो ये कि आपने जो स्ट्रॉन्ग वर्डेड स्टेटमेंट डाल दिया उससे पाकिस्तान को समझ में आ जाना चाहिए कि इंडियन आर्मी ने इसको लाइटली नहीं लिया, लेकिन पाकिस्तान को ये स्टेटमेंट सुनने की आदत ऑपरेशन पराक्रम से पहले भी है. 11 भी हमने देखा और उसको हमने जवाब दिए, लेकिन जो कुछ हुआ उसको लेसन एक नहीं मिला. आज आपने कहा है कि हम अपना रिजर्व करते हैं राइट रिटेलिएट करने का और हम अपने चूजिंग टाइम पर अपने चूजिंग प्लेस पर इसका जवाब देंगे. पाकिस्तान को ऐसा क्या हम लोग संदेश देंगे कि इस बार ये हमारे जो स्टेटमेंट है वो खोखले नहीं है और हम ग्राउंड पर कुछ करेंगे अगर उन्होंने अपनी हरकत से बात की है. ये सवाल नंबर एक था. मेरा दूसरा सवाल ये
देखिए ऐसे है, मैंने आपसे पहले बताया कि ये जो एक ऑपरेशन है ये लोअर लेवल के ऊपर, टेक्निकल लेवल के ऊपर, और ये कार्रवाई लाइन ऑफ कंट्रोल के ऊपर चलती है. मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ खासकर ये दो इलाके जो है 161 ब्रिगेड का 10 ब्रिगेड का, जहाँ ये कार्रवाई चलती रहती है और भी कई जगह जब गाड़ी आती है और हम वहाँ पे उसको टैरिएट करते हैं. अभी जहां तक सवाल है मैसेज देने का, मैसेज हम दे चुके हैं अपने मिलिट्री चैनल से थ्रू और डिप्लोमेटिक थ्रू, क्योंकि ऑपरेशन एक नीचे लेवल के ऊपर है. इस सिचुएशन को डील किया जा रहा है उसी लेवल के ऊपर, और मैं आपको बता दूं कि हम जवाबदारी देंगे, हम उनको जवाब देंगे पक्का. और वो जवाब जो है मैंने पहले बताया, वो जो लोकल वहां पे कमांडर्स हैं, जो कॉमिशन कमांडर्स हैं, वो प्लान तजवीज बनाते हैं कि कब किस वक्त और कहां पे उन्हें एक्शन देना है, और ये हम उनको ये फिगर देते हैं. और एट लेवल हायर लेवल के ऊपर हम सिर्फ डायरेक्टिव देते हैं उन्हें क्या करना है, और देख रेख करते हुए जो ग्राउंड रियलिटीज है, जो ग्राउंड सिचुएशन है, उसके तहत जो लोकल कमांडर है वो कार्य करते हैं. बाकी जो मैसेज है वो देखिए वो पाकिस्तान को जाएगा इंटरनेशनल कम्युनिटी की तरफ से, वो जाएगा हमारे पोलिटिकल डिप्लोमेटिक चैनल्स की तरफ से, और जहां तक सवाल है मिलिट्री वहां से दिखा रहा है.
दूसरा सवाल
I'll come back to you. Okay. The first round is over, I'll come to you for the second round. Don't worry about it. 25.
So my name is Gaurav Sawant. I represent Headlines today. My question to you is, not retaliating so far, what impact does it have on the morale of your troops on ground? Why hasn't the response team immediate? If SOPs are, if they fire, you fire back, and you fire and place where you dominate them, why hasn't the army responded so far that Pakistan realizes that it has costs to pay? It cannot get away with murder every day.
We are given this impression that we are not retaliating.
That's the genuine impression, sir.
No, it's I think wrong impression. Ladies and gentlemen, let me please clarify to you. When I say we reserve the right to retaliate, that is in terms of any kind of operation that they have done. But let me tell you one thing. We respect the LCB, we will not be crossing over. How we do it, I leave it to the formation commander and the commander at the technical level. I don't want to reverse the plans. But let me tell you otherwise, we have been firing back. The orders are very clear to the travel commanders, to the company commanders, to the brigade commanders, that when provoked, when fired upon, they will retaliate. I mentioned this in my opening statement when I gave, that my directions are very clear. I expect my commanders and my unit commanders and my sub-unit commanders, that the travel commanders and company commanders to be aggressive and offensive on the line of control when provoked and when fired on. I said,
But he has initiative.
no, look, the point is, these are at the tactical level. This firing, you can't really fight, they have always been fired. There's no doubt about it, let me tell you. All ceasefire violations have been fighting. It's very rare that we have opened fire when we've been provoked in terms of certain activities. But yes, we do give a response in a professional manner, which is measured and is correct. And then please let me discuss this thing. We have fired back. We fired back very well, let me tell you. I thought that we will, as I said earlier, I want my people to be aggressive and offensive when they are provoked.
15.
The question that I have is, what was the necessity for us to call for a meeting today that is scheduled from our side? What was the necessity of calling for a meeting today, a flag meeting today from the Indian Army side?
While we have conveyed at the national level, at the strategic level,
note कर लियो उससे
at the professional level, certain messages have been conveyed. At the tactical level, we need to convey certain aspects with regard to the deviation from the rules of engagement and the deviation from the ethics of soldiering. Plus, we wish to lodge a very strong protest even at the tactical level and give a message of we reserving the right to retaliate at the time and place of choosing. This message must go down at the technical level to the Pakistani army. And of course, we wish to elicit the accountability from them for what they have done.
Sir, Chairman Chiefs of Staff Committee very recently said, tell us what kind of options will be looked at. Have you discussed this amongst yourselves, the chiefs, and have you suggested anything to the government at this point?
Look, this is an action, an operation, as I said earlier, at the tactical level. Please remember one thing, ladies and gentlemen, let me clarify to you in the use of force. In war, the hierarchy of war fighting, it starts off from a duel. Thereafter you go to engagement. Then you go to battle. Then you go to campaign, and then war. There's a hierarchy in which you go. This is at the bottom of the entire use of force. And therefore, please remember, the options are in the military domain. They are at the tactical level. And as far as the statement is concerned by the chief, in the chairman of the Staff Committee, I respect this statement. You must seek the clarification from him with regard to the options. Because in any case, you were only covering those. And I suppose what you perhaps meant was in the domain of diplomatic and economic certain options. But as far as the military options are concerned, it is an operation being dealt with by the army at a tactical level. We have adequate resources, we have adequate wisdom, we have very professional, competent commanders who will be able to deal with the situation. Yes, at the strategic arena, what is of consequence and what has actually hurt us is the decapitation of our soldiers, the beheading of our soldiers. That is something which is we will not tolerate, and this is something we have given a very strong message. And this is something which has been conveyed by the government. But with regard to the operation per se, let me tell you that this can be dealt with at the tactical level. These are localized operations and are going to be dealt with accordingly as per our existing SOPs.
6.
शहीद की विधवा अपने वर्षों की मांग को लेकर आमरण अनशन पर बैठी है, आप क्या संदेश देना चाहेंगे?
अच्छा,
संदेश क्या देंगे, क्या बताना चाहेंगे?
देखिए, पहली बात तो हमारी जो सहानुभूति है उनके साथ में है, हम उनका दर्द समझते हैं और मैं एक चीफ होने के नाते जो कि एक पूरी फौज का जो परिवार है उसके सबसे मुखिया हूँ, एक बाप के समान हूँ। मुझे दुख है कि जो उनके साथ में बीता है, उनके परिवार के साथ में बीता है, मैंने पेपर में पढ़ा है उनका दुख जो है, लेकिन आपको बताना चाहता हूँ कि जहाँ तक सवाल है उनकी देखभाल का हमारे जो लोकल कमीशन कमांडर्स हैं वो उनके साथ में मिल जाते हैं, उसको बनाया गया है। मैं उनका दर्द समझता हूँ, लेकिन हम पूरी कोशिश करेंगे उनका दर्द दूर करने के लिए। उनको जितनी सुविधाएं प्राप्त होनी है, जितनी सहूलतें प्राप्त होनी है, उनकी जितनी एंटाइटलमेंट्स हैं, ये हम उनको दिलवाएंगे। और मैं आपको ये बताना चाहता हूँ कि हम उनके साथ हैं, वो हमारा परिवार है। और मुझे बहुत दुख और दर्द है कि जो हमारी जो हमारी बच्चियां हैं उनको ये सहना पड़ा है। हमारे जो वीर योद्धा, हमारे जो जवान जो हमारे
27.
सर, मनीष सर, मेरा सवाल है कि कुछ दिनों पहले रिपोर्ट पे आई थी कि हाफिज सईद कुछ दिनों पहले मौजूद था एलओसी के पास में। तो जो अटैक हुए थे, ये कहा जा रहा था कि पाकिस्तानी टुकड़ी जिसने अटैक किया था उसमें लश्कर तोयबा या हाफिज के जो सपोर्टर्स हैं वो भी साथ में उन्होंने ऑपरेशन को अंजाम दिया था। क्या आपके पास ऐसी कोई रिपोर्ट है?
देखिए, ऐसी पॉसिबिलिटी है, उसे हम रिजॉल्व नहीं कर सकते। पाकिस्तान फौज के पास में जब हम ऑपरेशन कोई करते हैं तो हम करते हैं अपने ओन कॉम्बैट पार्ट के साथ, अपने जवानों के साथ। लेकिन पाकिस्तान आर्मी के पास में एक ये भी टूल है, टेररिस्ट, और वो इसका काफी मुफ्ती तरीके से इस्तेमाल करते हैं। तो उसकी जो पॉसिबिलिटी है उसे हम रिजॉल्व नहीं कर सकते। ये मीडिया में मैंने सुना है, लेकिन जहां तक सवाल है इंटेलिजेंस सपोर्ट का, ये इसके अंदर होम मिनिस्टर साहब ने स्टेटमेंट दिया है। यकीनन उनका जो स्टेटमेंट था वो इंटेलिजेंस के ऊपर होगा। तो इसका मतलब है कि जो उनका इन्वॉल्वमेंट है ये पहले होता रहा है और हो सकता है इसके अंदर भी हुआ। लेकिन जहां तक हमारी इंटेलिजेंस है, जो कि बटालियन से आई है, फॉर्मेशन से आई है और कमांड से आई है, ये ऑपरेशन एक उनका जो उनके कमांडर है एसएसजी उन्होंने किया है और उनके जो रेगुलर्स हैं उन्होंने किया है। इसके अंदर हो सकता है कि टेररिस्ट ने भी उनका सहयोग किया।
So, Vipindra from New Nexus, yes, sir. So, you sent a very strong message to the troops on the ground and your commanders on what to do. And you also say that it's a duel that's happening on the ground from across the border. Do you think Pakistan is itching to scale up this duel to a engagement and a battle and ultimately a war? And the Chinese who are present there in the POK, are they aiding Pakistan army in all this killing?
जहाँ तक सवाल है, आप you said about this being, taken to up in the ante in terms of the military action. I do not suppose that this will happen. And because this is, as I said earlier, it is not a dark and secret have been activated. This is segment-wise, this is only new areas in the area of in the valley, and one in the area of Punch. So therefore, the indicators are not alluding to any kind of up in the ante by this week. But yes, they would continue to indulge in this kind of activity with the aim of pushing in terrorists. And if there is a game plan which is bigger, we would monitor, and if there is something that I will share with you later in the camp. But at the moment, prima facie it appears an operation at the technical level. Pre-planned, premeditated, as I said earlier. It's been stage managed by creating a situation, information operations campaign, in which they have planted lies to justify what they have done, eventually what they have done. But what they have done is wrong. Sorry?
As about the Chinese troops who are present along the LOC, are they kind of aiding the Pakistani troops in scaling up their defenses and preparing for the Chinese troops present?
No, there is no such intelligence alluding to this. This has been covered earlier in the earlier media interaction, that there are soldiers of the Chinese, but they are more involved actually in the infrastructure development in POK. But their involvement in preparation of defenses is something, there is no intelligence alluding to this.
So,
yes.
In your last fraction with the media, it was like the informant. You have referred to going back to the core values of the army. Once again, you talk about that. Since the time you have taken over, what actual steps have you taken or have you ensured have trickled down to the lowest level that going back to the core values is a very important thing? Because there still seems to be a lot of distrust within the army hierarchy, between the current army hierarchy and the retired people. Is this not a sign of failure?
Ma'am, let me please clarify to you first. There is no distrust firstly in the army. There are no officials in the army. I don't know what's being reported by all of you, but please come one day and sit down with me and I'll explain to you. We are one homogeneous whole. We are one entity. We are one for all and all for one. And that's a concept we operate upon. First, let me clarify and dispel that notion now. The other thing is, yes, please, I would not like to talk about many of my predecessors. We give 100% respect, and where we have faltered, we have already apologized publicly. We went wrong line what you are hinting at. And let me tell you, we respect all our veterans, all our former chiefs, and I know what you're aiming at. You can ask me a moderate question, I'll tell you. We already apologized in this regard. Ma'am, let me tell you one thing. We are one team, whether it is our veterans, our VIs, our service soldiers. There are no officials and there are no divides, let me tell you. And I think this needs to be understood by the media. And I'm speaking with conviction. Yes, there were certain activities that occurred. The way they were reported, they alluded to this kind of, officials being in the army. This kind of divide being in the army. But let me tell you, I'm in the chair for over 7 months now. There's nothing like that. We are one. One for all and all for one. Coming on to the core values, yes, these are required because we've had a large number of incidents which were in the domain of property, financial property, certain acts of misdemeanor which are reported by the media. I'm grateful to you because, as I said earlier, your reporting, good and bad, is good for us. Bad reporting elicits accountability of the people. It encourages us to institute measures to make sure we do not repeat those mistakes again. And therefore, these values that have been given out, ma'am, let me clarify. You would like to know what these are? You want to explain these? Okay, right. The first, as I said earlier, is integrity. It's a cherished core value of our army, which urges all ranks to do the right thing legally and morally. The second is loyalty, owing unflinching allegiance to the Constitution, to the nation, to the army, to their regiment, to their unit, to their peers, to their subordinates. There are various stresses of loyalty. Duty, fulfilling your obligations in the correct manner and earnestly. Respect, treating people the way they are supposed to be treated. Now this value, if you come to think of it, these incidents which happened at Neoma, for example, where we had certain amount of problems of interpersonal relations. This aspect, this core value of respect is something perhaps which was not adhered to. In the backdrop of the changed socio-economic conditions, this value of respect has to make us adapt to the requirements of the environment, to make sure we respect the sensitivities and deal with them the way they are supposed to be dealt with. The next we talk about is selfless service, placing the welfare of the nation, of the army, in front of yours. The check of credit. Courage. It has two phases. Facing fear, danger, adversity squarely, and the other facet is the moral aspect of courage, that is standing up for the right. You've got to encourage our subordinates to get up and say, this is going wrong. And last is honor. Honor is putting all these core values above yourself and respecting them all the time. These core values have been given to the army. They have been there earlier. They have only been reiterated. And I have gone around, let me tell you, as on date, I have spoken to over 16,000 officers already. I go to stations, I speak to the men, I interact with them. I've had a meeting of the army commanders and of the corps commander coming to Delhi. These have been passed on to them. These are being shared with the environment. They are being passed on to the environment. But let me tell you, there's nothing wrong with the army. And I would like to clarify this once for all and to all of you. Ladies and gentlemen, this is a great army of yours. The army belongs to you. And the army is as strong as you make it to be. Yes, do report the negative things of us, should make us improve, but also to project the correct things that the army is doing. We are your resource, we are the national resource, we belong to you all. And therefore there are no officials. There are no divides, vertical divides in the army. It's one.
Okay.
This is Nitin Ope from NDTV. I have two very quick questions. One is, what is the Indian Army stand on the Siachen issue vis-à-vis Pakistan? Does it favor demilitarization without authentication of the AGPF? And two, what is your stand on the Armed Forces Special Powers Act?
But first thing on Siachen, ladies and gentlemen, I have made my position very clear, and position of the army very clear, which has been communicated to the government as well, with regard to Siachen. And I just would reiterate, state it as well. One, that it is strategically important to us. Number two, it's our area, and we need to continue to hold it. And if any thought has to be given in terms of demilitarizing and thinning out from there, this has got to be done in the backdrop of the trust deficit, which has got to be addressed prior to that. We've got to wait and watch the conduct of the Pakistani army, and then take our call. It has got to be a very cautious, very deliberate, very pragmatic decision, and let's not lose out on the strategic gains that we have made. We have shed, as I said earlier, a lot of blood in trying to gain this advantage. Let's value that sacrifice. Second point with regard to the Armed Forces Special Powers. In general, as you all know, there are two categories of Armed Forces Special Powers Act. We have 1958, which is applicable to the non-official states, and we have Armed Forces Special Powers Act 1990, which is applicable to the state of Jammu and Kashmir. These are enablers. Armed Forces Special Powers Act, they give us additional powers to operate in an environment which is marked by very high degrees of volatility, uncertainty, complexity, and ambiguity. They enable us to operate in an asymmetric environment. Asymmetric environment where you cannot differentiate between a friend and foe, because the terrorist merges with the background. He takes the cover of the locals. He hides amongst the locals. And therefore, there are a great deal of challenges on the soldiers when they are carrying out operations. We've got to give these enablers to a soldier to be able to carry out these operations. And I'm of the view that we should not dilute the provisions of Armed Forces Special Powers Act. If the terrorists are worried of this, they are worried because these give us the powers which enable the army to carry out operations in the correct perspective against those people, those inimical elements, those enemies of the state who defy the rule of law and state authority. And therefore, I think I'm very clear on this. Armed Forces Special Powers Act is an enabler, and any decision to revoke this in any part where at the moment it is applicable must be taken after consideration of all facts and inputs from all the security agencies and all the stakeholders that are employed and are carrying out conflict management at this point of time in various parts of the country.
73.
Sir, yes.
सर जून 1999 में फौज आके कैप्टन सौरभ भालिया और उनके साथ गए 5 युवा की डेड बॉडीज आई थी। 2 हफ्ते से ज्यादा कैप्टिविटी में रखा गया था और उनकी म्यूटिलेटेड बॉडी लौटाई गई। उस समय भी सरकार की तरफ से बार बार कहा गया था कि पाकिस्तान के साथ और अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मंच पर इसे उठाया जाएगा। सर आपको ये बात बहुत अच्छे से याद होगी क्योंकि उस समय आप उनसे रोज मुखातिब होते थे। सर अभी पाकिस्तान एक महीने पहले पाकिस्तान के इंटीरियर मिनिस्टर रहमान ने जब हिंदुस्तान आए और उनसे सवाल पूछा गया तो उन्होंने कहा कि पहली बार इस टूर में भारत सरकार ने उनसे सौरभ भालिया के बारे में बात की। सर क्या इस मामले को युवराज और सुधाकर सिंह के सहपाठियों को अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मंच पर उठाया जाना नहीं चाहिए और क्या इसको उठाया जाएगा? दूसरी बात सर कि इससे पहले तकरीबन साल भर पहले 20 कुमाऊं के जवानों के सर काटने की बात आई थी। लोकल एसपी और उसके परिवार वालों ने ऐसा कहा था। क्या ऐसी बात थी?
पहले मैं ये सवाल आपका मुश्किल होता पहले बार इसका क्वेश्चन मैं आपको द्वारा पूछ करना पड़ेगा बट मैं आपको इतना बता दूं कि जहां तक सवाल है इसका लेवल रेस करने के लिए देखिए ये डिसीजन गवर्नमेंट की है और डिसीजन गवर्नमेंट लेगी इसके तहत लेकिन जहां तक सवाल है हमारी सहानुभूति का आपने देखा होगा मैंने पहले बताया था मैं जो कैप्टन सौरभ कालिया है उनके फादर के साथ में सहानुभूति रखता हूं मैंने कहा था पहले कि हम उन्हें सपोर्ट करते हैं डेफिनेटली एक सिविलाइज्ड एनवायरनमेंट के अंदर हम ऐसी चीजों को अलाउ नहीं कर सकते देखिए रूल्स ऑफ एंगेजमेंट है लड़ाई के अंदर भी तहजीब होती है मैं आपको बताना चाहता हूँ जब मैं कहता हूँ कि एथिक्स ऑफ सोल्जरिंग तो उस एथिक्स के अंदर जो हम ऑब्जर्व करते हैं भारतीय सेना जो ऑब्जर्व करती है हम अपने जो हमारे दुश्मन की जो डेड बॉडीज हैं उनकी मॉर्टल रिमेन्स हैं उनको हम प्रॉपर रिस्पेक्ट देते हैं और रिस्पेक्ट के साथ में उनको हैंड ओवर करते हैं दुश्मन को वापस आपने देखा होगा काफी के अंदर और ये हमारी टीचिंग्स है ये हमारे संस्कार है ये हमारी आर्मी की वैल्यूज है जहां तक सवाल आता है पाकिस्तानी आर्मी का जहां तक उन्होंने इन जो असूल है उनका पालन नहीं किया ये डेफिनेटली मैं चाहूंगा कि ये हाई लेवल के ऊपर जाना चाहिए ताकि जो एक अकाउंटेबिलिटी है पाकिस्तानी की आर्मी की वो हमें देनी चाहिए आनी चाहिए और उसके लिए जो भी हमें करना पड़े हमें करना चाहिए
सर दूसरा सवाल था कि साल भर पहले
इसके ऊपर जो डिसीजन है वो गवर्नमेंट
सर दूसरा सवाल था कि क्या साल भर
पहले 20 उन्होंने कुछ जवानों के साथ काटे गए थे क्योंकि उनकी बॉडी पहुंची थी तो लोकल किसी का भी ऐसा करना था कि सर काटे गए थे और परिवार का देखना क्या
जी आप ठीक बोल रहे हैं देखिए ये हमारी डेमोक्रेसी है और इसमें कोई ऐसी चीज है जो हम करते हैं जिसको हम आप कंसील नहीं कर सकते आपको बताना चाहता हूँ आज सोशल मीडिया है आज जो मोबाइल है हर जवान के पास में है तो आप ये बिल्कुल ठीक बोल रहे हैं ऐसा इंसिडेंट हुआ था और जैसे कि ये मैडम ने भी सवाल पूछा था कि दूसरा ये इंसिडेंट ऐसे हुआ है जिसके अंदर एक सरकार थी
69
Gulshan Gupta from India State Music. An army is as strong as the morale of the officers and men and the edge in weapons. We are faring very poorly on the helicopters. I'm not talking just of the acquisition, but even the present state of helicopters, cheaper, etc. I think I don't understand they're quite bad. Then also on artillery, particularly, we are still nowhere. In fact, your predecessors have said in this press conference that they are going to move the system so that we can get 155 guns urgently. Unfortunately, I think we are still not anywhere. I would like you to comment on these and also the tanks, particularly. I will recall one incident from 71 war, which I just heard. I never heard it in the press. But a friend of mine who was in the army, he was in Dera Baba Nanak sector. He said some Pakistani troops had captured certain Indian villages, and then they raped women there and cut their breasts. And this was a good Punjabi-speaking Madrasi. He said we took action. We rounded up every possible Pakistani in that area, cross-border, and killed all of them. This was a personal conversation I had. But the Pakistani army and their troops actually have this trace of barbarianism in them. Thank you.
Yes, I fully agree with you. First question of yours that yes, morale is the mental power against the hard knocks of the heart. It's a state of mind which urges a person, a soldier, to do what he has to do in the right frame of mind. And you're absolutely correct that this hinges on equipment state as well. But let me show you that as far as the soldier is concerned, efforts are on to equip him well, infantry soldier. Efforts are on to also ensure that helicopters come in, but they have to come in as per the laid down procedure of the DPP. The time-consuming procedure, as you know, ladies and gentlemen, each scheme takes about 2 to 3 years to fructify before a contract is signed, from the time of initiation till it is signed. So it is a time-consuming process, but let me show you that we have the requisite combat power, we have the requisite equipment, and let me tell you, there is a mental armor with our soldiers today, which is against the hard knocks of the environment and enables them, urges them to do what they have. So from that point of view, whether it is Guns 155, whether it is the armor, whether it is your helicopters, initiatives are in place, schemes are in place, it will take time to fructify, and they will come about this. Sorry? Sorry?
There has to be some timeline. How long?
Look, it's like this. Let me tell you, I believe in timelines myself. But then let me tell you timelines when a number of stakeholders get involved. Then there are large number of imponderables that come. And you cannot stick to a timeline that has been stipulated, because you can stipulate a timeline for yourself, for your own army. That look, I intend achieving this by so much time. But when you have other stakeholders coming in, other agencies coming in that are getting your proposals, it is bound to take time. And as I said earlier, an average time is 2 to 3 years. We are working on this. We have initiatives with regard to 155 plants which are there at the moment. We will be briefed on this. We have people there, teachers there. They tell you details what is going on. But as I said earlier, on you know this. We can't share everything in this regard. Being classified in nature as per the provision of issue.
24.
Vishal Thakur from Newsix. General, you just described the gruesome beheading of the Indian soldier as a state-managed tactical operation by Pakistan with a strategic intention, and we've all seen how it has caused nationwide outrage. Now, should this kind of a thing were to recur, will you treat it as an act of war? And you also told us that there will be a retaliation at a time and place of our choosing. Will it be head for head?
Look, firstly, please remember that the nations go to war. And it is the extension of state policy. Decisions to go to war are taken by the national parliament, by the nation, by the government. This is an operation, as I said earlier, at the tactical level. It is going to be dealt with at the tactical level. There are SOPs in place, and when I said we reserve the right to retaliate at a time and place of choosing, this is a game at the tactical level. So we don't intend upping the ante in this regard. It's a tactical operation, we will deal with that operation at the tactical level.
30 seconds.
Chief Minister, this is good answer. Sir, I imagine you also review. Sir, I have one question since your tenure will be in a way overlapping the role of American NATO troops from Afghanistan. Have you factored that into your planning in the next 5 years or 10 years, because of that happens in Afghanistan? What is the pressure from the Indian Army? What is the kind of pressure you receive?
Yes, we are constantly monitoring the situation, and there will be a possibility of some terrorists of the elite, especially from that side, and in that question which was preceding yours earlier, we even talked of the TTP elements, some of them, the Punjabi factions especially, perhaps also being diverted towards the general faction towards our country. Let me tell you, we are seized of the issue, we are prepared for it, and Indian Army has got adequate resources to deal with the situation.
Sir, one more. Sir, little question. Yeah. General Minister. Sir, little question. Sir, sir, when the Air Chief spoke of other options, in these 6 days, did it also occur to you of exercising another option?
Look, please understand, I'm repeating again and again, I'm telling you. You were asking this question first, please. But what I'm saying is, it's an operation at the tactical level. It is going to be dealt with at the level. Therefore, the options are more tactical in nature. What he referred to, perhaps, maybe he was alluding to the diplomatic and economic aspects which you were covered the other day when he was reporting on this. Very much, perhaps, that is what he was alluding to. But as far as I'm concerned, this is an operation to be dealt with by the Army on the line of control, as per the existing SOPs, as per the rules of engagement, in a professional manner, at a place and time of choosing. And I brought up earlier, as far as the onslaught is concerned, fire or provocation is not being replied to. So let's leave it at that. This is going to be at that level, being handled appropriately. But yes, if things play out, if they go beyond this particular threshold, then the options come. And I suppose there are options. These are covered very well the other day, and Sundar was covering this, and even some other section of the media was covering after a statement.
So what are these red lines, sir?
Just please don't put like
it's like this. Red lines are the threshold of tolerance. And let me tell you, in this case, there are more than emotive obstacles. As I said earlier, we are disturbed, we are angered, we are conveyed. But then there are methodology of dealing with this. You see, every situation is not a nail that hammers an answer. There are other elements of natural power which are utilized to deal with the situation. And as perhaps the chairman chief of staff committee, when he said, he was perhaps referring to the diplomatic and economic, the elements of national power, as well as being important in this particular case. But when you talk of the options in this particular case, which is at a technical level, please understand, it is going to be dealt with at a technical level, this operation. And when I say technical level, a corps operates in the tactical arena. So when you talk of 16 corps, there's a corps that is dealing with it, there's a corps commander, there's an army commander, very competent people that are dealing with it. We don't have to take it beyond a threshold. There's only
Rahul Singh from Hindustan. So you said that this is an operation at the technical level, and this is a huge obvious sentiment against Pakistan staying. So what implications do you think these movie killings will have on the overall peace process in Pakistan? Because people will be saying that we are in Pakistan now on the right lines. So do you think Pakistan is still the thought by carrying out this operation at this time? Good Singh said it was a pre-planned operation, a lot of intelligence gathered, people on all that. So how much time do you reckon they have taken to an operation like this? And do you plan to visit the sector anytime?
Yes, but you see, the visit, please remember one thing that, there are chief visits, they give the message to the advance. As I said, there are very competent commanders dealing with it. The army commander is immediate, I have spoken to them. At the opportune moment, I will go down, meet the troops, touch them up, otherwise I will touch with them to their commanders. The morale is very high, as I said earlier. It is sky high, apart from this. That's number one, because they know that we are standing behind them, and they have the very important type of thing. What was the other thing Rahul mentioned? Yeah, see, we had such incidents earlier as well. In fact, it's going to be gauged by the government. There are a couple of dialogue which is on at the moment in Pakistan and Uganda in various fields. What impact it will have is going to be seen at the level of the government. I suppose the government is going to put across our concern in terms of the beheading of our soldiers, which is unacceptable and unpardonable. And that is something which I'm sure we need to address in the Pakistan now.
Planning an operation like this?
You see, these kind of operations require time, at least 10 to 15 days. Because you observe the activities, you have to have a certain degree of surprise attached to it. And you got to cater for logistics, you got to cater for firepower, you got to evolve a plan, you got to practice that plan. Because in such operations, generally when they are launched, any adversary would never like to leave any dangerous signs behind. So this kind of plan requires precision, proper precision, and detailed planning and execution. And therefore, I suppose minimum 7 to 10 days would have been taken place. The way it has been launched precisely in 48 to 58 hours, it's indicative of a premeditated, a pre-planned action by Pakistan in this area.
37.
Anish Gupta, Business Standard. Going beyond the rhetoric and the warmongering, anybody who looks at this operation from a tactical perspective can see that two bodies in an 8-man patrol which operates in visual contact with fire support were left for Pakistan to take the heads and mutilate the bodies. As you yourself pointed out, this tactical lapse that has strategic implications. You will be responsible for this.
Sorry?
do you think responsible for this in some way? That a training lapse or a proficiency at the practical level is having repercussions at the India Park process level. Is there a feeling that there is a need for better training, that there is some accountability to be fixed there?
Well, I think you're right. This has happened. Definitely, there will be weaknesses in what has happened. But you just told it yourself, and I would appreciate that instituting immediate inquiries when the fight is still on, and the fight is still on, would be factoring the question on the ground. But yes, let me tell you, prima facie days that have come in, there are obviously there have been technical errors in the SOP that are laid down in this regard. We will go to that and take action. That is it. This will be a short, and also I fully agree with you that when you enhance your combat power, you want to emphasize on training, to ensure that such operations along the LC are carried out more in an methodical manner. The institute of measures to ensure the surveillance, the institute of measures to ensure that the balanced teams move out, which can sustain this kind of an activity by many enemies.
45.
So this is Lauren Tyler from Out of Family. We've been making visits to Sri Lanka, to Nepal, Bhutan. In this South Asian context, an Indian Army chief going and visiting nations, how does that place us in the current scenario of the South Asian context? Please elaborate that. And the other question I want to ask is, Pakistan being a very clear border, there's an acceptance in the border, but China, we don't really have. We just have kind of.
Can you go one by one? Let me ask the first question. If you want a proper answer.
Yes.
The first question was regarding the engagement of our neighbors. This is a media level program I've listed so far, and you're referring to this. Look, the country is engaging this engagement is at the political, diplomatic, economic, and military level. And we are only contributing to further strengthening and consolidating the initiative that the government has taken with regard to this. Now, as far as our relationship with them is concerned, it is in terms of developing understanding with these countries, enhancing interoperability with these armies, with these militaries, with the essential aim of dealing with emergency situations which need especially the suffering of the people in anywhere in the region, in any of the countries. So therefore this interoperability, this combined capability or capacity that we are trying to create is essentially to deal with these kind of situations. And also we are trying to develop a capability to deal with the operations against the global terrorists in this movement, and this under the UN umbrella. So we've got a very clearly charted out arena in which we are engaging, but it is a step in the right direction because it cements the other initiatives along the political, diplomatic, and economic initiatives which are there. It's compatible with them, and I think it's creating a regional capability which is in the right direction.
So this is China, the border that we share with China, there's no clear acceptance, they don't accept our side, we don't accept their side, there's only a line of acceptance also. Can you brief, or give you a brief point on how we're breaking up to ensure that our northeastern borders are safe?
Well, there are two segments in this point. One is the line of actual control and the second is the international border. The line of actual control in other areas, yes, there are varying perceptions with regard to the. And that is the reason that we have translations from their side, LA side. They come up to their areas of received LAC. We also go to our received area of LAC, and this activity goes on. As far as the management of this area is concerned, let me tell you there is peace and tranquility. Both the countries are holding the agreements of 1993, 1996, and 2005. Protocol is there. and we have cordial relations on ground. We have mechanisms on ground wherever there is any problem which crops up at a technical level. It is dealt with through the existing mechanisms of the border personnel meetings, the flag meetings, and we have the hotlines which are there to be able to speak to each other. And as far as the infrastructure is concerned, your concerns regarding that, let me tell you that we have very focused initiatives in this regard in place, wherein we are going in for development of infrastructure around the northern borders, which is in terms of roads, railway lines, habitat, logistic echelons being located in certain areas, KLPs coming up in certain areas, the irrigation plan where the units and positions are going to be created, upgrading of our defenses. All these actions are being looked at. But it's being done while respecting the agreements of 1993, 1996, and 2005. Which are
Great.
So, this is Sridhar from the Asian Age. You have just confirmed two previous instances of beheadings of our soldiers. One you said was the soldiers of 20 Kumaon, 2012, and also soldiers from Rajput Regiment in 2011. I want to know how many soldiers were beheaded in these two instances, and why was this hushed up? Because there were reports at that time as well from the local level. The army had officially denied it from Delhi. Why were these, if those incidents had not been hushed up, if we had taken those incidents also as seriously as we are taking the current one, don't you think that Pakistan would have got a strong message much earlier and this current incident could have been prevented? They would not have dared to do it. That is one question I have. The second one I have is, you talked about retaliation at the time and manner of your choosing. I just wanted a small clarification on this. Does it mean that this will be only in response to a fresh provocation, or does it mean that the retaliation will be for what has happened? These are my two questions. Thank you.
Let me tell you, the situation is dynamic around the years. And there are actions, reactions, the kind of operations. As I said earlier, this is in relation to what has happened. This is often in relation to the way they've been fighting and avoided the ceasefire with two areas. And as I said earlier, there are localized operations in these two respective areas that are going on. In the area of Puri, that side, the Nagpur area, in the area of Valley. And this side, when you come down, it's in the area of, this KG area, Punch area, BG area, is what we're talking about. This operation is going to be done at that level. Coming on to the hushing up of the previous cases, I don't think so. In fact, you know about it. I don't understand how you say it was hushed.
No, there was, these incidents were denied at that point of time by the army headquarters. And also, otherwise, it would have hit the front pages. You see, this current, media attention. One has to acknowledge that this has been one of the main reasons in the Public Bureau why we are taking it so seriously now. And the previous instances, can I also ask you some details? How many soldiers of 20 Kumaon were beheaded? How many soldiers of the Rajput Regiment were beheaded in 2011?
We do this. But let me tell you one thing, that given today the kind of transparency which is there in this environment, I really do not know that there would have been any deliberate attempt on the part of the army to fight this conflict. Let me tell you very frankly. It is that this would have been shared with the government. We would have shared this with the MOD. It has been shared, I know this very well. But as far as this particular incident is concerned, as I said earlier, I brought it out as a democracy, there is transparency. People are going to know what is happening. It's been shared with everybody, and we called spade a spade. We told you what has happened. And that's the reason we got a very strong protection in this regard. And of course, we are instituting measures, corrective measures, as asked by Ajay. These are going to be put in place.
And on this clarification I saw from you, I just wanted to, so that I don't get it wrong, this retaliation at the time and place you are choosing, that is in response to the beheadings, am I right?
look, you leave it to the local council commanders to decide this. Let's not read between the lines because this is an ongoing process. People would resort to this. These are my directions. Obviously, this is something which has bothered us, which has angered us. So, but also coupled with this is the way they have been regularly violating the ceasefire, along in these two areas. That is the cause of concern.
41.
So I'm Sushil Sharma representing Defense Smart Finance. So in your opening remarks, you have several times mentioned the word unacceptable. The same word has already been used by the political leaders for this. And there is no reaction to it by Pakistan that they are blaming Indians for taking this sort of command. मैं आपसे ये भी जानना चाहता हूँ कि जब भी इस तरह की कोई बात होती है तो एक तो वो मना करते हैं और उसके साथ सबसे पहली बात ये कहते हैं कि वी वोट फॉर न्यूक्लियर नेशंस। वो जो न्यूक्लियर वाली बात बीच में लाकर एक तरह से वो दबाव डालते हैं, उस दबाव में मिलिट्री भी आ रही है और सरकार भी आ रही है। तो ये जो न्यूक्लियर होगी है ये कब तक चलेगी और क्या इसका कोई तरीका है आपके पास? दूसरा, ये भी खबरें आ रही है कि उन्होंने अपनी आर्मी की छुट्टियां कैंसिल कर दी है, क्या ये सही है? और अगर ऐसा है तो आप क्या कर रहे हैं?
देखिए, पहली बात यह है कि जो मैसेज हम प्ले करते हैं, मैंने पहले बताया, इसमें जो प्राइमेसी है वो गवर्नमेंट की है और मैसेज जो मैंने बताया कि हमें जो अनएक्सेप्टेबल रहा है, जो जिसके अंदर उन्होंने ये हिनस क्राइम जो किया है, जिसके अंदर हमारे जवान को बिहेव किया है और हमारे जवान को बिहेव किया है, ये गवर्नमेंट की तरफ से कन्वे हुआ है। आपको गवर्नमेंट की प्राइवेसी है उन्होंने कन्वे कर दिया है। हमने मिलिट्री के तौर से बीचों में जो हमारा एक और चैनल है उसके थ्रू कन्वे कर दिया, आज भी हम कन्वे कर रहे हैं। जहां तक सवाल आता है आपका, आप इसे दिन कर रहे हैं एक हाइटेंड सिचुएशन। देखिए, ऐसे है कि मैं आपको पहले बता रहा था कि जब डिसीजन दी जाती है एंटी कॉप करने के लिए तो ये गवर्नमेंट डिसीजन है ना। आप भी समझिए इसको कि ये इसमें न्यूक्लियर जो उनकी बातचीत है, उनकी जो न्यूक्लियर सेवर रैटलिंग है वो इसमें नहीं आती है, इसको शामिल नहीं है। बिकॉज ये जो ऑपरेशन है अगर देखा जाए तो ये एक सब कन्वेंशनल एरिया में आ जाता है, ये लोअर एंड ऑफ द स्पेक्ट्रम ऑफ कॉन्फ्लिक्ट उसमें आता है। तो ये एक जो ऑपरेशन है ये फिर किया जाएगा एक लोअर लेवल पर और ये हम करते आएंगे, ऐसे होता रहा। जहां तक सवाल है, जहां तक हमारा एंगल है, वो एंगल है वो कन्वे किया जा रहा है पॉलिटिकल जो हमारी चैनल्स हैं, डिप्लोमेटिक चैनल्स हैं उसके थ्रू, और ये कन्वे किया जा रहा है हमारे मिलिट्री के जो डीजो हमारे जो ऑर्गेनाइज है उसके थ्रू आज भी कन्वे किया जा रहा है। पर प्लीज ये छोटा ऑपरेशन है दो लेवल के ऊपर और इसे उसी स्थान के ऊपर उसी लेवल के ऊपर ट्रीट किया जाए।
20
राकेश कुमार सिंह पीसी बनी। चीफ, जिस तरह से दो जवानों की क्रूरतम हत्या की, एक जवान के सिर काट कर ले जाया गया पाकिस्तानी सेना द्वारा, लोगों में जिस तरह पूरे देश में गुस्सा है, क्या दोनों जवानों को मरणोपरांत जो है सम्मानित करने का फैसला 26 जनवरी को आपने लिया है? तो दूसरी चीज, इस सीमा पर कितने आतंकी अभी भी जो है भारतीय सीमा में प्रवेश लेके आ रहे हैं? अभी भी जो वहाँ पर 42 कैंप हैं, अभी भी वहाँ पर बने हुए हैं, वहाँ पर लश्कर जैश के आतंकी ट्रेनिंग दे रहे हैं।
ठीक है, देखिए, जहाँ तक सवाल है इनको सम्मानित करने, ये जो डिसीजन है ये काउंसिल कमांडर्स के आएंगे, उनसे रिकमेंडेशन आएगी और इनके ऊपर गौर करेंगे और हम लोग के साथ में इंतजाम करेंगे। दूसरा क्या आपने बोला, जो कैप्स हैं उनके वो आप ठीक फरमा रहे हैं, वो कैप्स उनके इंटैक्ट हैं। मैं ये आपको बताना चाहता हूँ कि जब हम कोई भी प्रश्न पूछते हैं जम्मू और कश्मीर के बारे में, जो वहाँ का इंटरनल सिक्योरिटी है उसके बारे में, तो हमें इस चीज को गौर करना है कि जो इंफ्रास्ट्रक्चर है पाकिस्तान का, पाकिस्तानी आर्मी का, हमारे ऊपर ये एसिमेट्रिक वॉर करने का, हमारे अंदर टेररिस्ट भेजने का, वो भी मुकम्मल है। और अगर वो मुकम्मल है, अगर वो ऑलरेडी एग्जिस्टिंग है, उसके अंदर उन्होंने इसको डायल्यूट नहीं किया है, नीचे नहीं लेके आए हैं, तो उसको हमने मद्देनजर रखना है। जो भी हम प्लान बनाते हैं, जो भी हम अपनी पॉलिसी डिसीजन लेते हैं, ये बहुत जरूरी है।
I'm Saurabh Joshi from Sestra. You repeatedly mentioned the right to retaliate at a time and place that you are choosing. Does this imply your willingness to escalate by retaliating in other sectors? And has the government imposed any specific constraints on your ability to do so? And separately, what are your how you perceive the future of the technical support division?
Right. Firstly, there are no restrictions imposed on the army as far as the ground control is concerned. But yes, given the ongoing initiatives which are there, one, as I said earlier, the relevance part, the critical part, one is to see the bigger, larger picture which is there when you take decisions. But yes, there are no such restrictions, but it's for us at the strategic level in the military and the army to figure out as to what should be the stance so that we remain compatible to the national aspiration and support the national aspiration. And that's what has got to be done. And I think that's the conceptually what I told you. The operations would be undertaken as per the plan that we made at the federal level, at the local level. We would not be planning this at the army headquarters. But at the army headquarters level, we operate in the strategic arena, especially the operational arena. Technical is left to the corps commanders, the commanders, the leaders. So, and we will not go into it because, as I said earlier, there are issues regarding our plans which are to be shared on the notices. So, I leave it at that. Regarding the technical support division, there is a study that is in fact a board of officers that has been carried out. The report is yet to come to me. I expect it within the next 2 days' time, and based on that, we will take a call on this.
13.
Okay.
13.
So, Manu Bhavi from Indian Express. So, I want to ask you a curious reply that earlier now. The inquiry to TST and smart machines. You said the report has not come to you yet, but what kind of action is planned in the future is to consider found in that division? And secondly, sir, sir, about the TST report, you said the TST, the Tactical Support Division, the one that was set up, the inquiry led by the DGA morning. You said the report has not come to you yet on it. So, but if what is the course of the investigation? What kind of discrepancies are being looked at? If you can share some of them. And secondly, it was related to this before this unfortunate incident at the former minister's house. So the manner in which the one officer was portrayed on television, running around, television cameras and people behind him. I mean, that was distasteful to the army. You said the army apologized to the former chief, but doesn't that kind of action also, that kind of incident also have implications to the other side, in the sense in which they handled the entire incident and made one officer look on television?
First, as I said earlier, we give full respect to our former chiefs and all our ex-servicemen. In this case, I was out when I got back, when I saw this on the television at 2:30, I was at home for a talk with the CBM at Sikandrabad. When I got back around 4:30, I saw this, and the first thing I told was, you should tell you to please send an apology and we will deal with this case. Chief being an institution, I think I won't have to discuss anything in this regard, but I think we tendered an apology and we felt very sorry for what has happened. I, as a chief, feel very sorry for what has happened because I feel we need to uphold their prestige, their image. They have led the armies great strategic leaders, and I think they need to be respected and they will be respected. We should be respected. The other aspect regarding the technical support group, I pointed out that the report come to me. The report essentially is going into the performance of this group. Is it really required, or can we do without it? And if it is required, we will continue. If it is not required, we will do it now. But essentially, it is taking stock. It's an audit. It's a performance audit of this particular setup. And once I have it with me, we'll share again all information because we'll be sharing with the government, and if it is prudent to share with you, we will do it. But I personally feel that the inquiry would be very fair, and once I get it, we will share
on the squad.
Sir,